You are listening into WCBN sports coverage of Michigan hockey, live from Joe Louis Arena for the Big Ten Tournament Championship game between the Michigan Wolverines and the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Leo Blavin alongside Eli Sherman. Eli, we have a great matchup at hand, arguably the two best teams in the regular season in the conference, and they'll square off for a berth in the NCAA tournament tonight. What are the keys for Michigan to win this game tonight?
Well, I think really the key for both of these two teams is getting settled on a little bit of unfamiliar ice. Michigan used to playing on a much smaller sheet at Yost Ice Arena, playing on what is more or less standard in college hockey, a lot less wide of an ice and a little bit shorter on the ends. Minnesota, on the other hand, plays on one of the biggest rinks in the world. They're going to have to get used to playing on a little bit tighter surface. And both of these teams are going to have to get used to playing with the bouncy boards here. Joe Louis, Michigan definitely has benefited from those boards in the past couple of years playing here against a variety of opponents. And this is basically a virtual home game for the Wolverines, though the Gophers, given their one seed, will have the advantage of changing second on all stoppages of play.
About ready for the face-off. Kyle Rao and Andrew Kopp face-off, and we're underway. Michigan winning the opening face-off here from Joe Louis Arena, the Big Ten Tournament Championship game. Michigan skating right to left in their blue uniforms with the maize piping. Minnesota in their gold uniforms with the maroon trim. Michael Downing skates on the puck, playing it behind his own net to linemate Brennan Serville. It takes a deflection and goes to the other end of the ice. Michigan getting their first change of the game. Children of Yost here in full force, and there's a good contingent of Michigan fans. Not a lot of Minnesota fans made the trip here to Detroit, but Michigan playing in front of a certainly home-like atmosphere. Zach Werenski gets onto the puck, getting his first touch of the game. Plays it ahead to Zach Hyman. Michigan's star line is out there with Hyman, Larkin, Selman, Werenski, and Lohan. Battle behind Michigan's end boards. Minnesota doing a good job controlling the puck early, firing a shot in, the first shot of the game, as a rebound attempt was put past the net by Seth Ambrose for Minnesota. Now Michigan coming back the other way. Larkin gets his first shot of the game. Hyman was closing in, forcing Adam Wilcox to cover it up for an icing. So each side's getting their first shots in this opening minute and a half of hockey from the Joe. Face-off to come in the left wing circle of the Minnesota defensive zone.
If you're Michigan, you're going to have to play a much stronger game on both ends than they did yesterday. Not that they played poorly against Michigan State, but this Minnesota team is strong defensively and offensively, whereas comparatively Michigan State, a much more defensive-minded team. Michigan's going to have to be on point throughout both phases of the game.
Face-off win for Minnesota, and they'll come the other way going left to right. Dumping it back is Vinny Lettieri, and it's played in front, still loose in the crease. Racine doing a good job covering up the net, not allowing those putback attempts to go. Minnesota keeps the puck in the zone, however. Justin Kloos with it. Lettieri gets battled up by Cutler. Martin into the boards, and Michigan will look to clear it with Nieves. Unable to do so, but Martin is there for the Wolverines, playing it behind the net. Sinelli is there, and now Tyler Mott skates onto it. Missed the hit, and Marshall trying to keep in the zone for Minnesota, unable to do so, as the Wolverines will skate ahead, and a big hit delivered by Dexter Danks. Minnesota will maintain possession as both sides elect to change. Still getting their legs here at this Joe Louis Arena ice in the opening minutes of this Big Ten title game. Minnesota won yesterday 3-0 over Ohio State. Michigan winning 4-1 over the Spartans to get to this all-important championship game. Minnesota with possession in the Michigan zone. Christian Isaacson. Now it's played to the point to Mike Riley. Riley skating around Sinelli. Plays it back where a shot is sent wide by Isaacson, still loose. And the Gophers maintain possession in the zone. A turnover from Jack Glover gives the Wolverines the puck going the other way. Max Schuart giving chase, but Mike Riley gets back in time. Minnesota dominating possession early and getting the better scoring chances. They've already had 3 shots here with 16:45 left to go in the opening period. Now a pass ahead, JT Comfer tried to go backhand, couldn't get there. Brady Shea providing the defense of pressure, not allowing Comfer to get a clean shot off. Puck still loose, but now Minnesota comes away with it. Leon Brisdet brings the puck forward for Minnesota. Now it's Brady Shea who dumps it behind the boards. Leon Brisdet there as well. Turnover, JT Comfer. Sinelli and now Werenski. Werenski skating ahead with speed. Tried to play it back to Comfer. Misdirected the pass. So he will skate off as will the rest of this line. But forecheck pressure gives the puck to Kyle. And Kyle tried to feed Comfer. Comfer was taken down by Brady Shea. And a penalty coming up. Michigan about to go in the first power play of the game with 16:03 left to go in the first period. It'll be Brady Shea going to the sin bin for 2 minutes.
And it would be a big help for Michigan to get out ahead early here against a very strong Minnesota team. I was going to say Minnesota, not a team that gives up a lot of goals in the half ice. If you find yourself just trying to drill shots at the goalie, Minnesota, one of the best shot blocking teams in the country. Last season, they led the nation in those shot block stats.
Minnesota wins the draw, and it's cleared out momentarily, but bringing it right back in was Nieves. He lost it immediately. Now Minnesota gets a dump and gets a change on their penalty kill unit. 15:40 left to go in the opening period. Minute 30 left on this power play for the Wolverines. Michigan gaining the zone with Selman. However, it's turned over, and skating ahead with it is Sam Warning. Warning doing it all by himself, skating coast to coast. Good poke by Werenski as Racine's forced to make a tough angled save. Puck back to the Wolverines, and Dylan Larkin will reset things so the Wolverines can get a change.
Disappointing power play effort so far from the Wolverines.
Minute 5 left to go on this power play for Michigan.
And no shots yet.
Tyler Mott dumps it in. Wilcox deflects it away rather than covering it up. Boyd tried to clear it, fanned on it. Across to Kopp, and it's centered in to Kyle. Kopp fires another shot. Blocked by Wilcox. Good save made. To the point, Downing. Across to the captain, Andrew Kopp. Minnesota tried to clear it, unable to do so. Downing keeps it in. To Comfort, the left wing circle. 30 on the power play. Played it across to Kopp. Kopp across to Mott, and Mott couldn't get his stick on it, but he had Wilcox beat. Still loose as Mott taken down. No arm goes up. Michigan fans begging for a penalty. They won't get one. 20 on the power play as it's cleared out of the zone. Downing skates onto it behind the Michigan net.
It looked reasonably clean, Emilio. Might have been a little bit high, but around the shoulder area, Mott should have really kept his feet. I'm surprised he didn't get that goal.
Michigan going for one last break. Comfort plays it to Martin, who fired a shot, and it was blocked. And skating up ahead with it is Hudson Fashing as the Gophers return to full strength. Fashing went the other way and tried to go across the crease, just couldn't get a shot off. Bischoff firing a shot from the right wing point. Unable to keep it in the zone are the Gophers, though, as it was Max Schuart clearing it ahead. Minnesota and Michigan both electing to get fresh legs on the ice here. Puck back to the Wolverines, scoreless, 13:30 left to go in the opening period. Puck now at the neutral zone. Werenski fires it right back into the Minnesota zone. Wilcox gets caught playing a little bit too casual as Tony Calderon provided the forecheck and nearly got Minnesota in disastrous position, but Wilcox able to maintain composure, and Minnesota clears it. Now Michigan back with the puck. Lohan across to his defensive line mate Werenski. Wolverines play it ahead. Hyman backhands it from center ice into the Minnesota zone. Selman gave chase, providing a big hit. However, Ryan Collins comes up with the puck, and now Minnesota going back the other way. Justin Kloos. Kloos gets by Downing, fires a shot in. Blocker save made by Racine, and now Michigan coming back the other way. Icing waved off. Hyman giving chase, gets to it first behind the Minnesota net. Zach Hyman battling, but Letty Airy gets to the puck first for Minnesota. Punches it ahead to Justin Kluse, but Michigan gets back possession. Larkin backhands it back into the zone. Michigan simply will elect to change here, though, as Brady Shea skates onto it. Trying to catch Minnesota off, or Michigan off guard, I should say. Letty Airy skates onto the puck and gains the zone for Minnesota. Camerata firing a tight angled shot in, but Racine not tested with that one. And now Michigan skating with pace the other way. Tyler Mott. Mott skating in, backhands it in the direction of Dexter Danks, but Danks was tangled up himself as Tyler Mott delivers a big blow at center ice, giving the puck back to Michigan. Dexter Danks across to Cristobal Bunieves. To Danks behind the Minnesota net. Danks is dispossessed by Sam Warning, and Minnesota will skate back the other way with speed. Travis Boyd to Warning. Back to Boyd. Boyd firing a wrister. Save made by Racine. 11:30 left to go in the opening period. The puck at neutral ice, still scoreless between Michigan and Minnesota in this Big Ten Tournament Championship game. Minnesota with the puck now. Sam Warning firing a wrister from his opposing blue line, covered up by Racine, and some physicality after the play. Lohan getting in the mix with Seth Ambrose. 11:22 left to go in the opening period. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of the Big Ten Tournament Championship game and Michigan hockey. Leo Blavin alongside Eli Sherman. Eli, your thoughts? Finally starting to see both sides get comfortable on this ice, both sides playing their brand of hockey.
Yeah, both teams are starting to play with a little bit of pace, and that's really when the game starts to get a little bit more exciting. I think that early power play did a lot to help these teams get settled in, get kind of used to where they're at. And I think really the main indication into their comfort level is that these two teams are starting to push and shove just a little bit, getting a little chippy. We saw coming down on that last possession, Bunieves was tied up with Travis Boyd right around center ice. Travis Boyd had his stick hooked around the midsection of Bunieves, and they're trying to get disconnected for a solid 10 seconds. The rest made no call on it, and each of them gave each other a shove as they finally disconnected, and Bunieves went to the bench. And then at the end of that play, when there was some pushing and shoving with Seth Ambrose of the Golden Gophers, I think these two teams, they know what's at stake here, and they're obviously a little bit nervous, but the fact that they're able to settle down and still push and shove like hockey players should, that it's an indication that they came here to play today.
The referees, it looks like, are going to let them play and let them play physical, and you like that as long as it remains consistent. That will be the question with the game moving forward. Face-off in Michigan's own zone, won by the Wolverines. 11:15 left to go in the opening period. Michigan and Minnesota still scoreless. From the Joe, Kyle Rao gains the zone for the Golden Gophers. Playing it behind the net now and skating onto it for Minnesota is Vinny Lettieri. Plays it to Mike Riley. Shot fired in from the left circle is gloved by Steve Racine. And Racine now 9 saves so far in this game, and he's looked comfortable in net.
Yeah, Racine has been definitely calm and collected there so far, able to see everything from long range, and he's actually done a really nice job of stopping the rebounds. There have been a few chances for Minnesota where Racine is unable to control the rebound, and then they're just able to keep firing away, and he's shut the door so far.
Travis Boyd facing off with Dylan Larkin, face-off win for Minnesota. Sam Warning plays it behind the net to Seth Ambrose. Ambrose dispossessed, but Minnesota temporarily keeping it in the zone. Warning at a breakaway shot, fanned on it. Now Michigan coming back the other way, 3-on-2 if they can take advantage. Hyman fired a shot blocker save and punched away by Wilcox. Now Minnesota coming back the other way. Sam Warning will just poke it as Minnesota will elect to get a change. Brennan Serval skates onto the puck behind his own net. Played it head to Hyman. Hyman got a deflection on it, and it will be called for icing with 10:20 left to go in the opening period. Scoreless from the Big Ten Tournament Championship game at Joe Louis Arena in Detroit.
Wilcox hasn't had to face too much from the Wolverines so far tonight. Just 5 saves on 5 shots faced. That last punch, though, did look pretty nifty, coming out of the crease a little bit, getting the blocker up there.
He made a few saves in yesterday's game against Ohio State, too, that having the glove awkwardly come across his body. So he's had struggles earlier in the year, but he appears to be coming into form at the right time as Minnesota poises itself for another NCAA tournament run. Obviously, a win tonight would punch their ticket to continue the season. Michigan wins the faceoff in the right wing circle of their own zone, and Justin Selman will dump it, and not sure what he was thinking. He dumped it well before center ice, so an icing call goes against Michigan. They will not get a change.
That's just a silly play there from Selman. He'll get an earful from Red Berenson when he gets back to the bench, but Michigan was more or less primed to go get a change, and now they're going to have to stay on the ice for a few more seconds here and hopefully get a clear. Maybe if they get stuck down there, Minnesota will be able to take advantage of the tired legs.
Brennan Serville corrals things as Michigan wins the faceoff. Now Hyman skates to center ice. He will be the one who dumps it off the board so Michigan can finally get a change. Bunieva still providing forecheck pressure, and a turnover as Dexter Danks comes along, fires the wrister, and it missed wide of the net, but Wilcox was sent sprawling across his goal line. Unfortunate break for Michigan as another near turnover, but this one apparently went into the bench. So with 9:46 left to go in the opening period, another turnover forced by Michigan's forecheck pressure. They've capitalized on that throughout the Big Ten tournament. That's really starting to become a part of Michigan's game, as it appears a trainer on the ice for Michigan. So not sure exactly what happened, but perhaps some blood on the ice. We'll see. Media timeout will give me and Eli an opportunity to talk things over. Eli, Michigan's forecheck pressure, as I was saying, has been so crucial for them in this Big Ten tournament, and it's looking more and more like the Wolverines may get goals continually from turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of surprising to see the play that we just saw with Michigan against Minnesota. Minnesota's normally a very strong team in their own defensive zone. They don't make a lot of mistakes like that, and right there we saw on an opportunity when Michigan had basically elected to go to a change, gave up possession, and then that forward pressure, just getting that poke check in there, and those are the opportunities that if Michigan can convert, that's going to make a huge difference in as far as being able to try and win this game, because I don't think you're going to be able to score too many goals conventionally against Minnesota's defense, particularly with Adam Wilcox in net. Yesterday that 3-0 win against Ohio State that got them here tonight, that was his 13th career shutout. So not too shabby from the junior out of St. Paul. Just waiting for the TV to get back here. Bunieva will be there for the faceoff.
Yeah, faceoff to come in the right wing circle of Michigan's defensive zone. Bunieva to face off with Justin Kloos. Kloos wins the faceoff for Minnesota. A quick shot fired by Seth Ambrose. Skating onto it is Kloos. Michigan getting it back as Zach Werenski lost his edge. And now a whistle to come. Someone's going to the sin bin, and it will be a Wolverine. Bunieva will go sit for the next 2 minutes, and I'm sorry, but I didn't see what happened. Eli, can you fill me in?
I'm kind of wondering there myself. I didn't really see anything out of Bunieva. Looked like he might have taken a tumble towards the
we're seeing it now
ice.
On the replay. It was Bunieva well after the pass, delivering a blow to Vinny Lettieri.
Yeah, it looks like a boarding call on that one, just along the near side boards right around the Michigan blue line.
Yeah, Vinny Lettieri received the blow, and now Minnesota gets their first power play of the game. Mike Riley fires a shot. Now Michigan will be able to clear it as Andrew Kopp skates to center ice, throws it up in the direction of JT Comfrey, who will simply provide forecheck with Kopp. Still 0-0, 9 minutes left to play in the opening period. Travis Boyd's getting ahead with speed. He'll settle things down as Minnesota gains the zone on this power play. Camerata in the right wing circle. Playing it back to Boyd, who fired a no-angle shot, poked away. Michael Downing throwing it off the end boards, and it takes a deflection out of play.
Right there on that low-angle shot by Camerata, we saw Steve Racine just absolutely stoic right against the pipe. And that's really what's been one of his saving graces compared to Zach Nagelbord. Zach Nagelbord has a tendency to overcommit on shots, come too far out of the crease, and susceptible to kind of fluky goals like that. Steve Racine, a rock.
Face-off win for the Gophers. Riley firing a shot, needed deflection, didn't get one. Coming back the other way, Camerata's shot blocked by Tyler Mott. Minnesota keeping in the zone. Camerata to the point, Mike Riley. Riley across to Boyd. Boyd fired a shot wide of the net. Now Camerata skates onto it, keeping in the zone. Tried to play to Riley. Upended by Mott. Michigan desperately trying to clear. Lohan pokes it back to Martin, who fires it the length of the ice. Wilcox will be forced to play it in his own net. Michigan gets fresh legs. 45 seconds left to go on the Minnesota power play as Dylan Larkin forces the turnover, but he plays it directly to Mike Riley. Mike Riley skating ahead with speed. Plays it to Brisdet. Brisdet plays it back to Sam Warren. Minnesota sloppy on this power play of late, but they'll be able to keep it in the zone. Played across to Brisdet. Brisdet will look to center it. Brisdet plays it back to the point to Riley. Riley fires a shot, gloved by Steve Racine. 21 seconds left to go on the power play. Mike Riley, so dangerous, leads the country in points during power plays as the big defenseman continues to impress of late.
Yeah, but Michigan, I think, has done a really nice job of holding Minnesota down during this power play. They've gotten several clears. They even had kind of a shorthanded chance there that last turnaround with Comfort and Kopp in the zone, trying to get a puck on net.
Face-off to come in the left wing circle. Minnesota with 21 seconds left to go on the power play in this scoreless game. Minnesota wins the face-off. 7:45 left to go in the opening period between Michigan and Minnesota. Minnesota firing a shot on Racine. Didn't know where it was. He still doesn't know where it is. Still loose in the crease. Racine not aware of where the puck is. Now Kopp skates onto it, fires around the end boards, but the Gophers keep it in the zone. Full strength now for Minnesota, but a flurry continues as Racine covers it up. One last big save. The power play over for Minnesota, and we remain scoreless. 7:28 left to go in the first period.
Steve Racine doing a nice job getting that puck out and away from himself. Anytime the puck comes close, he bats it away. For a little bit there, he did lose the puck. Comfort did a nice job of kind of corralling it out of the air, knocking it down and moving it out of the slot, keeping it out of harm's way.
A near disaster bounced the fortunate way for the Maize and Blue, however, as we're back at full strength. Cutler Martin, Andrew Sinelli battling in their own zone for the puck. Turnover forced Minnesota with it. Christian Isaacson battles along the boards with a few blue shirts. Finally, Michigan clears it away, and skating on with speed is Calderon, but first to get there is Ben Marshall. Now Isaacson. He tried to dump it in, unable to do so. Minnesota will elect a change with the puck still at center ice. Schuart. Now Calderon giving chase along with Ben Marshall. Isaacson bringing it back the other way for Minnesota. Played it ahead to Brisdet, but turnover gives the puck back to Michigan, as Travis Lynch will simply backhand it into the Minnesota zone. So Michigan can get a change, and Minnesota will take the time to do that as well right now. Hudson Fasching tips it ahead as Kyle Rao gains the zone for Minnesota. Brennan Serville delivers two big hits, but Rao skates onto the puck, fires a shot. Glove save made by Racine. 16th shot so far in the opening period for Minnesota to just 6 for Michigan. That's certainly something that Red Berenson would like to see change with 6:18 left to go in the first. Still scoreless.
Yeah, surprising to see Michigan just 6 shots on goal so late here in the first period. And we saw yesterday Michigan got a lot of shots on Jake Hildebrand, only ended up with 1 goal in that first period, but over 30 shots in the first period, and that ended up helping tire out Hildebrand, I think, and really gave them the opportunity to pile on towards the end of the game.
Andrew Kopp wins the draw for Michigan. Offside for Minnesota will send the faceoff, though, to the neutral zone as JT Comfort received a big hit. And Michigan perhaps trying to play a bit too cute right now with the puck, as right now Minnesota really dominating possession and dominating pace of play.
That puck actually going to come into Minnesota zone. Looked like an offsides call. Not really sure what the rest saw to bring it all the way out into Minnesota zone.
So face-off to come in the right wing circle. Won by Minnesota, but Michigan and Zach Hyman will keep it in the zone. Hyman battling with Brady Shea along the end boards. Hyman wins the battle. Skates on with the puck, but Shea doesn't give up, and Shea sends Hyman to the ice and gains the puck for Minnesota. It went off the skid of Boyd, though, so turnover as Selman brings it back the other way. Hyman couldn't get into the zone, though, as Seth Ambrose in the right place in the right time for Minnesota, not allowing Hyman to get his skate across that blue line. So face off to come in the neutral zone with 5:50 left to go in the opening period. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of the Big Ten Tournament Championship game between Leo Blavin and Eli Sherman. Nieves gets kicked out of the zone. So Dexter Danks will face off and lose the face off to Minnesota and Justin Clues. Minnesota skating up ahead with it. Camerata. Spinning around wrister is taken, and it's still loose in the Michigan defensive zone as Justin Clues tried his luck without even looking at the net. Finally cleared from the zone. Now Ben Marshall skates onto it for Minnesota. Nieves providing the pressure. Weak pass to Camerata. Camerata ahead to Justin Clues. Clues skates onto the puck with speed. Fires one right into the glove of Racine. And Minnesota now 18 shots, but really not many quality scoring chances. Seems like every other shot from Minnesota has been going straight into Racine's glove.
Yeah, even so, you got to worry if you're Michigan. Minnesota has basically been able to walk into the zone at will so far today. And they're getting their stretch passes to work, and I think it's just a matter of time before they put one in, unless Michigan's able to turn the momentum around and find a way to get some offense going here.
6 shots now for Michigan, 18 for the Golden Gophers with 5:15 left to go in the first period. Both teams still seeking their first goals. Face-off between Travis Lynch is won. And now Michigan trying to come back the other way is Calderon, but Mike Riley is there. Now Schuart providing the forecheck pressure. Battling with Jake Bischoff as Minnesota clears it. Servo sends it right back in. Mike Riley with the puck behind his own net. Minnesota will try their luck down the left wing boards, but they send the puck into their own bench. And with 4:52, a face-off to come in the neutral zone.
Looked like the puck might have come from Minnesota's zone. We might see the face-off come back in as they go to the TV timeout at the under 5. So far in this game, it seems like Minnesota has really dominated the puck possession. Obviously, we don't have numbers on hand, but it feels like Minnesota has dominated at least 60% of the possession, just more or less holding the puck at will. Able to enter the zone at will. Michigan more or less playing on their back heels right now, and I think this is not the position that Michigan's comfortable playing in. I think they need to be playing a more offensive-minded game, trying to work in the offensive zone, go 5-on-5, just riddling shots, relying on their defensemen to sit at the blue line, fire shots in, and hopefully try and get a tip in, because the way they've been playing right now, fighting from behind and trying to score in transition isn't going to work.
The two best coaches in the Big Ten Conference, Red Berenson and Don Lucia, facing off for the Big Ten tournament title here at the Joe. Scoreless between Michigan and Minnesota with 4:52 left to go in the opening period. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan hockey. Face-off in the right wing circle of the Minnesota defensive zone, won by the Wolverines, but they're quickly dispossessed as Mike Riley skates ahead with it. Pokes it ahead to Kyle Rao. Rao gains the zone. Rao leaves it back for Brisdet. Now Hudson Fashing. Fashing tried to play it to Brisdet behind the net. Wolverines coming up with the puck as JT Comfort taken down. No call. Brennan Serville plays it to Michael Downing. Michigan being a bit too selfish with the puck, not playing it forward as now they get loose. JT Comfort skates in the zone and fires a wrister right into Adam Wilcox's stick. Easy save made as the puck takes a deflection up into the netting. Face-off to come in the right wing circle of Michigan's offensive zone with 4:08 left to go in the first.
Yeah, the shot that JT Comfort took right there is not a shot that's going to really have any prospects for you unless Wilcox makes a mistake. He was well outside the kind of scoring area, and he had two Minnesota defenders right in front of him. Easy pad save for Wilcox, and if he had maybe waited for some help, he had Kopp behind him to the left. If he had tried to thread Kopp, he would have had a chance.
Face-off win for Minnesota in their own zone. Seth Ambrose getting ahead with it. Gave it to Brady Shea, and puck goes back to Michigan now. Larkin to Hyman. Hyman with the puck in the Minnesota zone. Dylan Larkin upended off the puck. No call. And Hyman's dispossessed, and now Travis Boyd skates ahead with it. He'll fire one from center ice into the zone. Minnesota will chase after it. Travis Boyd gets the puck back. Centering attempt, but the shot was deflected wide of the net. Seth Ambrose tried to get a clean shot off. Racine gloved it well wide of his own net. Not sure he needed to make that save, but he did just for good measure. And it's iced with 3:33 left to go in the opening period as both sides will change.
And I think one guy for Michigan that, if he can get going, would be a big boost is Zach Hyman. He's their Hobey Baker finalist, and so far he has yet to score a goal here in the Big Ten tournament for the Wolverines. And a lot of people, you would expect him to be the guy that's carrying your team towards victory rather than kind of sitting on his back heels and letting the game come to him.
Face-off in Michigan zone, won by the Golden Gophers. Shot fired from the point, never got to Racine, however, and Michigan clears it. Dexter Yanks giving chase, but Minnesota, as they have for most of the first period, gets the puck back and maintain possession. Cluse plays it ahead to Lettieri. Puck sent back into the neutral zone. 3 minutes left to play in the opening period. Scoreless from the Joe in the Big Ten Tournament Championship game between the Wolverines and the Golden Gophers. Battle for possession in Michigan zone. Travis Lynch tries to poke it ahead to Tony Calderon. Minnesota will keep it. Across to Mike Riley, who tried a one-timer, fanned on it, but he gets the puck right back to him. Riley trying to get another shot from the point. Finally forced to play it across, and it's loose in front of the crease, and it gets through. And Michigan will be called for another penalty. Cutler Martin will go to the box for 2 minutes. Tough break for the Wolverines as Minnesota will close out the first period on a power play. 2:37 left to go in the opening period, and Minnesota about to get a 5-on-4 advantage as Cutler Martin will sit for 2.
Yeah, they're calling interference on Martin. Looked like he was just holding Kyle Rao down there behind the net. Kyle Rao had fallen down, then he held him down for just a half beat too long. And, those are the mistakes. It actually
looked like from the replay that Cutler Martin, perhaps another dumb penalty by Michigan, as Martin was a bit physical, putting the hand to the glove, or his glove to the helmet. So he certainly sent him down as well. Nonetheless, Minnesota gains the power play. Travis Boyd with the puck. Plays it to Mike Riley, who fires a one-timer, blocked in front of the net and cleared by the Wolverines. Brennan Servo shaken up as he blocked that shot with his chest. He will go to the bench. Minnesota gaining back the zone. Hudson Fasching. Plays it to Boyd. Shot sent wide, but Minnesota keeping it in the zone with Fasching. Mike Riley. Riley across to Boyd. Boyd in the left circle. Centers it back to Riley. One-timer from Riley, high of the net. But Minnesota will keep it. Michigan just praying and trying to block shots. Riley across to Boyd, whose stick snapped on the shot, and it will be cleared away. Minnesota out of position. Michigan will try to get a quick change. Lohan, the lone man, left out on the ice. Didn't want to allow Minnesota to break. He will be able to get off now, though, as Michigan dumps it again out of the zone. It was Lohan doing himself justice. Broken stick still on the ice for Minnesota with 40 left to go on their power play. Minnesota trying to gain the zone with Sam Warning. Warning plays it to Justin Cluse. Cluse to Brisdad, and it's cleared again out of the zone. Michigan will get 4 sets of fresh skates onto the ice. 20 seconds left to go on the power play. 1 minute left to play in the opening period. Scoreless in this Big Ten Tournament Championship game between the Michigan Wolverines and the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Minnesota gains the zone. Justin Selman battling along the boards, trying to clear it. 5 left to go on this power play. 40 left to go in the period. Brennan Servo trying to do his best to dispossess Minnesota. The puck shot sent wide of the net, and Wolverines are back at full strength. Another big penalty kill for Michigan, but they're not out of the woodwork just yet. Marshall fires it across to a wide open Michael Brodzinski, whose shot was deflected up high. Brodzinski gets it back at the point, fires a shot. Good shot block. And another big shot block by the Wolverines, but they still can't clear it. 10 seconds left to go in the period. Michigan holding on for dear life as now Hyman skates ahead to center ice. Hyman, one last gasp with 3 seconds. Goes in backhand across, and he missed the net. He had Wilcox beat, but just didn't have a clean enough handle on it, and that will do it in the first period. Michigan nearly closes things out with a bang, and Zach Hyman nearly put it in the back of the net as time expired. Instead, we will head to intermission after this exciting first period with the score deadlocked at zeros. Eli, your thoughts on the first period?
Well, I think that was a great way to finish it off by Zach Hyman. Going into the second period, that's going to give them a little bit of momentum, maybe a little bit of jump. Say, hey, we can try and score on these guys. But so far, I think it's been Minnesota just absolutely dominating Michigan. Obviously, the 0-0 score doesn't show much in their favor, but 19 shots on goal to just 7 for Michigan. And really, they've controlled the possession far and away throughout this first period. And Michigan's going to have to change something up if they want to get the momentum in their favor and, try and get on the board. 2 more periods to go. Somebody's got to score. Somebody's going to win. 2
power plays so far for Minnesota, 1 for Michigan. No goals have come from either side as we head to the second period. We're still scoreless from the Joe at the Big Ten Tournament Championship game. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan hockey. We'll be back for the second period in a matter of moments. Stay tuned.